Well, with that all in mind, let's get stock specific now and discuss what he's got his eye on today. James Gerrish from Shaw & Partners back on the program. James, good to go and see you there. Got to kick off with CBA. It's a massive company. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, good morning to you guys. It was a good result from CBA this morning. So first half 22 earnings out, which were about a 5% beat to expectation. So they came in at 4.75 billion. The market was at 4.51. There was some brokers looking for less than that. So UBS, for instance, was at 4.4. So overall, a beat in terms of cash earnings for CBA. Dividend of 1.75 or $1.75, I should say, was good. 2 billion on market buyback was also pretty positive, and the net interest margin of 1.92% was low, but the market was expecting it to be low, so that won't come as a surprise. So all in all, Scuddy, a very good result from CBA on my read through this morning.
And James, we just spoke about Bapcor, a bit of a bumper result, but of course all focus on that new CEO.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the market takes this one, because they came out and said profit for the half was 57.7 million. We're looking for about, or UBS I should say, we're looking for 61, so it's a slight miss there. They did reconfirm guidance for the full year, but that guidance is for pro forma to be in line, at least in line with last year. Last year was 118 million. The market's looking for 9% growth there. So the market's looking for the high 120s. So that to me is probably a little bit light on. You offset that with obviously second day in the job from new CEO. That could have been this could be the time they could have rebased earnings or their earnings guidance at least. So I'll take that as sort of some swings and roundabouts in Bapcor, but it looks like it's an okay result. Slight miss on the half. Full year guidance maintained under a new CEO. So I'll take that as sort of as steady as she goes.
So keep a close eye on Bapcor show as they come online, given that assessment. Centuria Capital Group's also been out with some results today. We know markets have had a pretty decent time, but up until recently, anything in the results that caught your eye?
Haven't read it, Scuddy, so I'm not across that one. I did hear you talk about Mineral Resources a little bit earlier and the large fall in profit there. So I just caution sort of viewers around the fact that it's very forward-looking, this one. So the main issue was in their iron ore division. They're a high-cost iron ore producer, so their cost base is sort of that circa $90 a tonne mark. Plus they produce lower quality ore. So during the period, we all know that iron ore prices were weak, but Mineral Resources also get a discount to the benchmark price. Steel mills in China were looking for higher quality ore. They were really focused on efficiency during the period, given the high costs of power. So, Fortescue came out with a similar sort of trend. Iron ore is now bounced. Futures in Singapore are sort of 150 a tonne. So that's all a future-looking business, if you like, in terms of mining services, iron ore and lithium. So don't be too concerned about the large drop in profit there.
And James, Megaport also on your watch list this morning?
Another one that I haven't had a chance to look through, guys. We've so I mean, I don't think, just off the top of my mind in terms of Megaport, they came out with an update recently that was well below market expectations in terms of revenue as well as number of ports being connected. So this won't be a lot of new news in terms of the half year result today for Megaport. They did downgrade, and the shares have been really under pressure since then. They want to sort of talk up their future guidance here for Megaport, because the market's turned obviously negative on tech, but also super negative on companies that are not meeting expectations that are priced pretty highly, and Megaport fits that bill. So the big thematic around this is a stock or company for these sort of times, with all this flexibility in working arrangements going on, it's not being delivered in the performance of the business at this stage. So guidance key in that one, guys.
James, we're hard taskmasters here. The result from Megaport is just dropping at the moment. I can tell you that revenue from ordinary activities came in at 51.2 million. That was versus 36 million the same period a year earlier. The net loss after tax, 20.2 million versus a loss of 38.4 million PCP. No further details at this stage, but that's a quick wrap there. Anything else on the radar today that you've been keeping a close eye on?
I think we've got obviously reporting season is dominating. Today's results across the board, I think, have been the ones I've been across have been better than expected. And I think that's, the commentary from CBA is always really interesting. So, their economic commentary is interesting. They're forecasting an interest rate hike in August of this year of 25 basis points. They're talking really upbeat around the economic conditions in Australia. Being the country's biggest bank, they've got a really good handle on how the economy is performing. And at this stage, it's going well. So, look, for me today and ongoing, it looks like this. The dip in the market that we saw in January has now passed. There's been some aggressive buying off the lows. Company performance has been good, and to me, I'm still remaining pretty bullish this market. And there's areas that are doing particularly well. Resources have done very well. Look for energy today because energy prices were lower overnight. It's sort of the first test of oil being lower for our energy sector. That's been pretty hot of late. So a test of 7,200 on the index today, Scuddy.